Welcome to Globewise Entertainment. Today, we're counting down 13 graphic and raunchy exploitation classics you can watch free, viewer discretion. These are wild, shocking, and absolutely unforgettable films from the world of cult cinema. If you haven't already, subscribe to Globewise Entertainment for more jaw-dropping movie lists, hidden gems, and Hollywood stories you won't find anywhere else. And we want to hear from you. Which movie on this list excites you the most? Drop your favorite in the comments below. Get ready for a wild ride into the raunchy, outrageous, and downright insane side of cinema. 1. Pink Flamingos, 1972. The filthiest film alive. Before the internet, before reality TV, before shock cinema became mainstream, there was Pink Flamingos. Released in 1972, directed by the self-proclaimed Pope of Trash, John Waters, this underground cult sensation dared to do what no Hollywood studio ever would: turn bad taste into an art form. Starring the legendary drag icon Divine, the movie follows a bizarre and outrageous competition to crown the filthiest person alive. But don't let the scandalous reputation fool you. Beneath the shock and sleaze lies a wicked satire of American morality, fame, and hypocrisy. Filmed on a shoestring budget in Baltimore with a cast of misfits and outcasts, Pink Flamingos shattered every cinematic taboo of its time. It wasn't just raunchy, it was rebellious, a middle finger to the polished Hollywood dream factory. Critics were divided. Some called it trash, others called it genius. But one thing was certain: nobody forgot it. Today, over 50 years later, Pink Flamingos stands as a bizarre time capsule of counterculture cinema, wild, unapologetic, and defiantly independent. It's not for everyone, but for those who dare to peek behind its chaotic curtain, it's a twisted masterpiece of freedom and expression. Where to watch? The film is now streaming free, with ads, on select platforms like Tubi and archive.org, but remember, viewer discretion is advised. 2. Emmanuelle and the Last Cannibals, 1977. Jungle Secrets and Forbidden Obsessions. In the late 1970s, European cinema wasn't afraid to mix the sensual with the savage, and nowhere is that more evident than in Emmanuelle and the Last Cannibals, a wild Italian adventure directed by the cult legend Joe D'Amato. This film takes the famous Emmanuelle franchise, known for its provocative themes, and throws it deep into the heart of the Amazon jungle, where civilization and primal instinct collide in unexpected ways. Our fearless photojournalist, Emmanuelle, journeys into the dense South American wilderness to investigate mysterious tribal customs. But what begins as a story of curiosity quickly descends into something far darker: a world of forbidden rituals, eerie silence, and the lurking presence of a so-called lost tribe with terrifying traditions. Visually lush and deeply atmospheric, Emmanuelle and the Last Cannibals is less about realism and more about shock, seduction, and survival, a bizarre but unforgettable blend of eroticism, adventure, and horror that only 1970s European exploitation could deliver. Shot on location with stunning jungle cinematography and pulsing music by Nico Fidenko, the film gained cult status for pushing the envelope on what could be shown and what should remain hidden. It's controversial, yes, but it's also a fascinating artifact from an era when filmmakers took creative risks with unapologetic boldness. Today, Emmanuelle and the Last Cannibals stands as a so-bad-it's brilliant exploitation gem, blending pulp storytelling with a surreal sense of beauty. It's wild, daring, and, believe it or not, available completely free to stream on several classic movie platforms. Just remember, this one's not for the faint of heart. Viewer discretion is definitely advised. 3. Switchblade Sisters, 1975. In 1975, Jack Hill, the master of grindhouse feminism, unleashed Switchblade Sisters, a wild, adrenaline-fueled ride through the seedy underworld of girl gangs and street survival. This cult favorite flips the script on the usual exploitation formula, putting women front and center in a violent, raw, and surprisingly empowering tale of loyalty and betrayal. The story follows Lace, the tough-as-nails leader of the Dagger Debs, and her close-knit gang of streetwise women who rule their turf with switchblades and swagger. But when a new girl named Maggie enters the scene, tensions explode. What begins as friendship quickly spirals into a battle for power, turning the sisterhood into a full-blown street war. What makes Switchblade Sisters stand out isn't just its shocking edge or provocative tone. It's the grindhouse grit and unapologetic energy that made 1970s exploitation cinema so unforgettable. Beneath the leather jackets, brawls, and rebellion lies a biting social commentary on gender, class, and corruption, all delivered with the colorful chaos of a low-budget classic. The film was ignored when first released, but decades later, Quentin Tarantino personally reintroduced it to new audiences through his Rolling Thunder Pictures label, calling it one of the most entertaining girl gang movies ever made. Now fully available free to watch on select streaming platforms, Switchblade Sisters remains a time capsule of rebellion, gritty, loud, and gloriously over the top. For A Cruel Picture, 1973. The revenge that shook Swedish cinema. In the quiet countryside of Sweden, a young woman named Madeline lives a simple, silent life, until one horrific encounter changes everything. Kidnapped, abused, and forced into a life of degradation, Madeline becomes the central figure in one of the most controversial exploitation films ever made. A Cruel Picture, also known internationally as They Call Her One Eye. This 1973 Swedish cult classic didn't just push boundaries, it obliterated them. Mixing art house cinematography with raw, shocking realism, it tells the story of a woman who turns her pain into vengeance. Trained in martial arts, weapons, and cold-blooded precision, Madeline sets out on a mission of bloody justice against the men who destroyed her innocence. What makes A Cruel Picture unforgettable isn't just the violence, it's the icy calm of Christina Lindberg, whose performance as the One-Eyed Avenger inspired countless later heroines, including Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill and the Nikita series. Despite its extreme reputation, the film's underlying message of empowerment and revenge still resonates with audiences today. It's graphic, raw, and emotionally charged, the kind of cinema that forces viewers to look straight into the face of human cruelty and retribution. And here's the twist. You can actually watch this rare, uncut exploitation classic for free on several legal streaming platforms. Just be warned, A Cruel Picture isn't for the faint of heart. Viewer discretion is not just advised, it's essential. 5. The Toxic Avenger, 1984. From geek to mutant hero. In the golden age of 1980s exploitation cinema, few films dared to be as outrageous, hilarious, and oddly inspiring as The Toxic Avenger, a cult classic that turned garbage into gold, literally. Produced by Troma Entertainment, the film became the studio's crown jewel, mixing grindhouse violence, cartoon-level absurdity, and a surprisingly heartfelt underdog story. We meet Melvin Ferd, a mild-mannered janitor at a sleazy New Jersey health club, constantly bullied and humiliated by sadistic gym rats. But fate has a twisted sense of humor, and one prank gone wrong sends poor Melvin crashing into a vat of toxic waste. What crawls out of that barrel isn't just a man. It's the Toxic Avenger, a deformed yet justice-fueled monster who wages war on crime, corruption, and every pervert in Traumaville. With oozing prosthetics, over-the-top gore, and shock humor that pushed every boundary imaginable, the Toxic Avenger didn't just gross people out. It redefined what indie cinema could be. It was banned in multiple countries but celebrated by fans who saw genius in its madness. The film's bizarre blend of comedy, horror, and superhero parody made it a midnight movie legend, and against all odds, it even spawned sequels, a cartoon show, comic books, and a modern reboot starring Peter Dinklage and Elijah Wood. Today, this cult icon remains free to stream on select platforms. But viewer discretion is absolutely advised. Beneath all the slime, you'll find a story about transformation, revenge, and the idea that even the ugliest hero can have the purest heart. 6. Ms. 45, 1981. a shocking vigilante revenge thriller. If you think exploitation cinema can't be brutal and bold at the same time, MS-45 will prove you wrong. Directed by Abel Ferrara, this 1981 cult classic is a raw, unapologetic dive into the dark side of 1980s New York City. The story follows Thana, a quiet and introverted seamstress whose life takes a horrific turn after she survives 2 separate assaults on the same day. Consumed by trauma and rage, Thana transforms into a vigilante, armed with her brother's .45 caliber pistol, taking justice into her own hands. What makes MS-45 unforgettable is its audacious combination of gritty street realism and exploitation sensationalism. Ferrara doesn't shy away from showing the horrors women faced, and the shocking extremes Thana goes to for revenge. With a haunting synth-driven score, stark cinematography, and intense, almost surreal urban landscapes, the film keeps you on edge from start to finish. It's no wonder that MS-45 has earned a cult following over the decades, celebrated for its fearless storytelling, controversial subject matter, and unapologetic depiction of violence. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. This is not a casual watch. But for fans of bold, uncompromising cinema, MS-45 remains a high-voltage, unforgettable experience that epitomizes the audacity of early 80s exploitation films. Fun fact, Thana's silent, haunting presence has inspired countless modern filmmakers in crafting anti-hero characters that blur the lines between justice and vengeance. You can watch MS-45 for free online on select streaming platforms. Just be prepared for one of the rawest, most intense exploitation thrill rides ever captured on film. 7. The Big Dollhouse, 1971. If you think prison dramas are tame, think again. The Big Dollhouse is a sizzling 1971 exploitation classic that threw the doors wide open to rebellion, chaos, and scandal. Set in a tropical women's prison, this film delivers a heady mix of action, intrigue, and, let's say, very adult situations. At the heart of the story, a group of female inmates must navigate corrupt guards, dangerous rivalries, and the constant struggle for freedom. But don't be fooled by the glossy exterior. This film is as audacious as it is entertaining. Director Jack Hill, known for his knack for blending social commentary with exploitation thrills, doesn't shy away from pushing boundaries, making this a prime example of the women in prison subgenre that shocked audiences back in the 70s. What makes The Big Dollhouse such a standout today? It's the perfect storm of camp, charisma, and controversy. From daring escapes to unexpected alliances, every scene is designed to keep you on edge. And the best part? You can watch it free online, but trust us, viewer discretion is advised. It's not just a movie, it's an experience that shows how far exploitation films were willing to go to shock and entertain. Whether you're a fan of retro cult classics or just curious about the wildest corners of cinema history, The Big Dollhouse is a must-watch. Just remember, this is not your average prison story. It's raunchy, graphic, and unapologetically bold, a true relic of a bygone era of cinema experimentation. 8. Coffee, 1973. Step into the gritty underworld of 1970s urban chaos with Coffee, a provocative exploitation gem that's equal parts scandalous and unforgettable. This cult classic dives headfirst into the sultry world of late-night cafes, neon-lit streets, and the steamy secrets brewing behind closed doors. Known for its daring adult themes and unflinching portrayal of vice, Coffee isn't just a movie, it's a raw, uncut slice of cinematic rebellion that defined an era. Audiences are pulled into a whirlwind of lust, betrayal, and the kind of risque humor only early 70s exploitation could deliver. From sultry encounters to shocking plot twists, this film pushes boundaries in ways modern cinema rarely dares to attempt. Perfect for fans of retro cult classics and those who crave the wild, unfiltered energy of grindhouse storytelling. Why you need to watch? Bold, unapologetic adult themes that make it a true exploitation classic. Rare vintage footage that captures the 1970s urban nightlife vibe. Cult status among collectors and fans of raunchy cinema history. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Coffee is not for the faint of heart. But if you love edgy, retro films that take you on a wild, no-holds-barred ride, this is one free classic you cannot miss. 9. Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS, 1975. If you think World War II dramas are all about heroism and strategy, think again. Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS flips history on its head with a chilling, exploitative twist that earned it cult classic status. Starring Diane Thorne as the infamous Ilsa, this 1975 shocker is equal parts terror and twisted curiosity. Set in a Nazi prison camp, Ilsa rules with an iron fist and a disturbing obsession with human experimentation. The film dives deep into extreme exploitation territory, graphic violence, unsettling medical torture, and intense psychological control. It's the kind of movie that makes you squirm in your seat, yet you can't look away. What makes Ilsa legendary isn't just its shock factor, it's Thorne's unforgettable performance. She embodies the ultimate villainess, seductive, sadistic, and terrifyingly intelligent. The movie's mix of sexualized horror and over-the-top brutality turned it into a notorious example of the 70s exploitation era, inspiring countless imitators and cementing its place in cult film history. Viewer discretion advised. This isn't for the faint of heart. Graphic scenes of torture and disturbing themes make it one of the most extreme examples of exploitation cinema ever made. But for fans of retro shockers, it's a must-see piece of cinematic history, especially if you're diving into the raw, unfiltered side of 1970s grindhouse. Pro tip: watch with friends who can handle the madness. It's a wild, intense ride, and the over-the-top performances and outrageous plot twists make it almost mesmerizing. 10. Cannibal Holocaust, 1980. Brace yourself, this isn't your average horror movie. Cannibal Holocaust, directed by Ruggero Deodato, is infamous as one of the most controversial films ever made. Released in 1980, it pushed the boundaries of exploitation cinema with shocking realism, graphic violence, and deeply unsettling themes that still spark debates today. The film follows a documentary crew who venture deep into the Amazon rainforest to film indigenous tribes. What they uncover is far more horrifying than they could have imagined. Featuring extremely graphic depictions of violence, animal cruelty, which sparked international outrage, and controversial, found footage, storytelling, the movie blurs the line between fiction and reality so convincingly that Deodato was briefly arrested under suspicion of creating snuff footage. Yes, it's that intense. Despite, or perhaps because of, its notoriety, Cannibal Holocaust has cemented its place as a cult classic in the exploitation genre. It's raw, unflinching, and designed to shock viewers who are truly brave enough to experience it. Viewer discretion advised. This film is not for the faint of heart. Graphic violence, disturbing imagery, and extreme scenes are present throughout. Only the boldest horror aficionados should dive in. Why you'll watch it? Love edgy cinema that challenges your limits. Cannibal Holocaust is a milestone in exploitation history, influencing countless horror and found footage films that came after it. If you're curious about why it became a worldwide controversy and a cult favorite, you can experience it for free online today. 11. The Last House on the Left, 1972. Brutal, unforgettable, and shockingly real. If there's a film that defines the raw, unflinching edge of 1970s exploitation cinema, it's Wes Craven's The Last House on the Left. Released in 1972, this controversial thriller sent shockwaves through audiences with its unapologetic portrayal of violence, revenge, and human depravity. The plot follows two teenage girls on a weekend getaway whose encounter with a sadistic gang turns into a nightmare. What makes the film truly haunting isn't just the brutality, it's how Craven forces you to confront the moral consequences of vengeance. By the time the story reaches its chilling climax, you're caught between horror and empathy, questioning the nature of justice itself. Despite, Or perhaps because of its extreme content, the film became a cult classic. Its gritty realism, minimalist soundtrack, and raw performances helped establish a blueprint for future horror and exploitation films. Today, it remains a must-watch for fans of boundary-pushing cinema, and you can even find versions available free online. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Why it still matters. A groundbreaking horror debut from Wes Craven. Shock value that defined the 70s exploitation scene. Explores revenge and morality in ways few films dare to. If you think you can handle this dark, disturbing masterpiece, prepare for a ride that's as unforgettable as it is unsettling. 12. I Spit on Your Grave, 1978. Brutal, shocking, and unapologetic. Warning: viewer discretion is strongly advised. I Spit on Your Grave is not for the faint of heart. This controversial exploitation classic has shocked audiences since its release in 1978, and for good reason. The story follows Jennifer Hills, a young writer who retreats to a secluded cabin in the country to focus on her next novel. But her peaceful getaway quickly turns into a nightmare when a group of local men brutally assault her. What follows is a raw and relentless tale of revenge, as Jennifer transforms from victim to avenger, meticulously tracking down those who wronged her. Director Meir Zarki's uncompromising vision pushes boundaries with graphic violence and unsettling realism, making this film one of the most infamous revenge exploitation movies ever made. While critics have debated its morality and shock value for decades, it remains a landmark in the genre, influencing countless horror and revenge films that followed. If you're a fan of exploitation cinema that tests limits and leaves a lasting impression, I Spit on Your Grave is a must-watch. Its raw intensity, controversial themes, and unforgettable lead performance ensure it's a film you won't forget, though definitely one to approach with caution. Viewer tip: watch it with a strong stomach and an open mind, and prepare for a roller coaster of tension, rage, and shock. 13. Faster, Pussycat. 1965. Buckle up, because number 13 on our list is pure, unadulterated cult chaos. Faster, Pussycat isn't just a movie, it's a wild ride into the heart of 1960s exploitation cinema. Directed by the legendary Russ Meyer, this film follows three voluptuous go-go dancers, Varla, Rosie, and Billy, who tear through the desert in search of trouble, vengeance, and adrenaline. What makes this film unforgettable? For starters, it's a bold, raunchy display of female power. These women aren't damsels, they're predators. High-octane car chases, deadly confrontations, and over-the-top dialogue make every scene feel like it's on the verge of exploding. Meyer's signature style is everywhere: exaggerated sexuality, shockingly graphic violence, and larger-than-life personalities. Critics at the time were horrified, but modern audiences see the genius. Faster, Pussycat became a blueprint for cult cinema, inspiring filmmakers like Quentin Tarantino and John Waters. Its daring mix of sex, violence, and empowerment shattered taboos and cemented its status as a must-watch for fans of exploitation films. So, if you're looking for something wild, unrestrained, and unapologetically raunchy, this desert-fueled thrill ride delivers. Viewer discretion is strongly advised, but if you survive, you'll be treated to one of the most audacious and iconic exploitation films ever made. Why watch it free? Despite its cult status, Faster, Pussycat is available for free streaming on certain platforms, making it the perfect entry point for anyone curious about classic exploitation cinema. Grab some popcorn, buckle in, and prepare for a 1965 ride like no other. Thanks for watching. That wraps up our countdown of 13 graphic and raunchy exploitation classics you can watch free, viewer discretion. If you loved diving into these wild, over-the-top films, make sure you subscribe to Globewise Entertainment so you never miss another cult classic, hidden gem, or shocking movie list. We want to hear from you. Which of these 13 films was your favorite? Drop your pick in the comments below. We read every one and love seeing your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on all things Hollywood, retro classics, and jaw-dropping entertainment stories. Stay bold, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next Globewise entertainment video.